Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brothers and sisters, there are moments in life when the heart feels heavy. When you look at your situation and think, how am I going to get through this? You feel alone, overwhelmed, and uncertain of tomorrow. But let me remind you of something powerful. Allah already knows, Allah already planned, and Allah will take care of everything. Sometimes we worry because we think we must fix every problem ourselves. But you are not meant to carry the world on your shoulders. You are only meant to try, to pray, and to trust. The rest belongs to Allah. When Allah says, indeed, I am with you, what else do you need? When the Lord of the heavens and the earth promises to protect you, guide you, and support you, why let fear control your heart? Yes, life will test you. You will face delays, disappointments, and challenges that make you wonder if things will ever improve. But every test is a sign that Allah loves you enough to strengthen you, elevate you, and draw you closer to Him. Remember, the doors you thought were closed forever, Allah can open them in a second. The people who walked away from you, Allah can replace them with better. The pain you are carrying, Allah can turn it into a lesson that transforms your life. So instead of worrying, talk to Allah. Cry to Him, complain to Him, rely on Him. You may not see a way, but He can create a way. You may feel weak, but He can strengthen you. You may not understand the wisdom, but He knows exactly what you need. Relief is closer than you think. The same Allah who helped you through your past is the one who will guide you through your present and bless your future. So breathe, calm your heart. Take it one step at a time. Don't worry. Allah will take care of everything. Trusting in Allah's perfect timing is one of the most beautiful forms of tranquility a believer can experience. When a person understands that what is delayed for them was never meant to reach them at that moment, and what comes to them arrives exactly when Allah wills, their heart begins to rest in ways it never did before. Many times in life, we become restless because we expect everything to unfold according to our own schedule. We plan, we hope, we try. And when things don't move the way we imagined, we assume something has gone wrong. But nothing goes wrong when Allah is in control. What feels delayed to us is not a delay in His sight. It is precise, calculated, purposeful, and full of wisdom that we often only understand later. Think of how many times in your past you desperately wanted something to happen immediately. You felt anxious, frustrated, even heartbroken because it didn't come when you wished. But now, when you look back, you realize that the timing would not have been right. You were not ready. The situation was not suitable. There were lessons you still needed to learn, people you still needed to meet, strength you still needed to develop, or dangers you were being protected from without even knowing. What you once called a delay was actually divine protection or divine preparation. That is the beauty of Allah's timing. A believer's job is not to force outcomes, it is to trust the one who controls them. When Allah withholds something from you, it is not rejection. It is a pause filled with mercy. Allah may be arranging circumstances for your benefit in ways you cannot see. He may be turning your heart away from harm that you are unaware of. He may be reshaping your direction so that your future unfolds better than you ever imagined. Sometimes you want something so desperately that you do not see the consequences attached to it. Allah, out of His love for you, may slow it down or redirect you entirely because He knows where that path would lead. And when He gives you something, He gives it at the moment it will bring you the most growth, benefit, and spiritual elevation. Impatience comes from the illusion that we know what is best for us, but true contentment comes from surrendering that illusion. You might think that a certain job, relationship, opportunity, or change must happen now, but Allah knows the unseen. He knows every detail of what could happen if it came earlier or later. He knows your weaknesses and your strengths, your past and your future, your emotional capacity, your spiritual needs, and your hidden wounds. He knows which heartbreaks will build you and which blessings need to be delayed so they don't crush you. He knows which door needs to close so you are pushed toward a better one, and which door needs to remain closed until you are ready to walk through it with wisdom, gratitude, and stability. When you trust Allah's timing, you stop rushing life. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop feeling like you're behind or missing out. You begin to understand that Allah has written a unique path for you, and He will not let you miss anything that was written for you. Just as no one can take from you what Allah has decreed, you cannot take from life what has not been decreed for you. What is meant for you will reach you even if the entire world tries to hold it back. And what is not meant for you will never be yours, even if the whole world tries to bring it into your hands. This realization is not meant to discourage effort. Rather, it frees your heart from unnecessary fear. Effort is your responsibility. Results and timing belong to Allah. So take the means, do your best, plant the seed, make dua, and trust that Allah will bring your harvest at the time it is most beneficial for you. When a farmer plants a seed, he doesn't dig it up every day out of frustration that the plant isn't growing fast enough. He understands that growth happens beneath the soil, unseen, quietly, slowly, but with purpose. In the same way, you must allow Allah's plan to unfold. Just because you do not see progress does not mean that nothing is happening. Sometimes the work is being done in your heart, in your mind, in your surroundings, or in your destiny long before it becomes visible. There will be moments when you feel stuck, when you feel like nothing is changing despite your prayers and your efforts. But this is where trust is tested the most. It is easy to rely on Allah when everything is moving smoothly. But true reliance is proven during the waiting periods, when your heart wants answers, when your mind wants clarity, and when your soul is asked to be patient. These are the moments that shape the believer. These are the moments that strengthen your connection to Allah. Every day you wait with hope is a day your faith grows. So when something takes longer than expected, remind yourself that Allah's timing is never wrong. The delay you dislike may be the exact moment your soul needs. And when Allah finally gives you what you have been waiting for, you will look back and say, if it had come earlier, I wouldn't have appreciated it. If it had come earlier, I wouldn't have been ready. If it had come earlier, it wouldn't have aligned the way it aligned now. That is when you truly understand that His timing is always perfect, and your heart finds peace in submission to His wisdom. Tests in life are not signs that Allah has abandoned you. They are reminders that He is guiding you, strengthening you, and molding you into someone better than you were before. When a believer understands that hardships are part of Allah's love, the weight of difficulties becomes lighter. You begin to see challenges not as punishment but as purification, not as rejection but as elevation. Every test carries a message, a lesson, and a hidden blessing that unfolds with time. The path of ease is comfortable, but it rarely transforms you. The path of hardship is uncomfortable, but it builds depth, patience, humility, and reliance on Allah in ways you never discover in moments of ease. When Allah loves someone, He does not leave them untouched by trials. The prophets, who were the most beloved to Allah, faced the toughest challenges. They endured losses, betrayals, loneliness, illness, and rejection. Yet Allah loved them more than anyone else. Their struggles were not signs of weakness, they were signs of spiritual refinement. If the best of creation were tested, how can we expect to glide through life without difficulties? Each hardship you face is a chance to walk a path that was walked by prophets before you, a path that leads to closeness with Allah. Sometimes tests come to break your attachment to this world. You may be clinging to something, wealth, status, a person, an expectation, thinking your happiness depends on it. Allah, out of His mercy, may shake your life just enough to remind you that real peace comes only from Him. When He takes something away, He is not being harsh. He is creating space in your heart for something better. And sometimes the better is not a material blessing, but a deeper connection with Him, a calmer heart, a wiser mind, or a stronger faith. These inner gifts are far more valuable than anything the world can give. Hardships also expose what is inside you. When things are easy, it is difficult to know the depth of your patience, gratitude, or trust. But when life becomes heavy, you discover strengths you never knew you had. You realize that Allah has placed resilience inside you, a resilience that is only activated through difficulty. Just as muscles grow through strain and pressure, the soul grows through tests. Without pressure, there is no progress. Without hardship, there is no spiritual growth. There are moments when life feels overwhelming, and you may wonder, why me? But a more powerful question is, why not me? Why should you be exempt from the trials that shape every believer? Perhaps Allah chose you for this test because He knows you can handle what others cannot. Perhaps there is a level of reward or closeness that He wants you to reach, and this test is the path toward it. Allah never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear, and He never tests you except to raise you. What you see as a setback may be the beginning of your greatest growth. Sometimes the test is not meant to change your situation, it is meant to change you. You might be praying for a problem to be removed, while Allah is using that very problem to remove something harmful from your heart: pride, impatience, arrogance, dependency on people, or love of this world. You may not realize it at the moment, but every test cleans something inside you. It refines your character, reshapes your perspective, and humbles you in a way that brings you back to Allah with sincerity. Tears shed in hardship wash the soul in a way that joy cannot. Tests also remind you how fragile life is and how much you need Allah. Without hardship, you might forget Him. Without difficulty, you might become comfortable, complacent, and forgetful of your purpose. But the moment life becomes heavy, your heart instinctively turns toward the one who never leaves you. You raise your hands, you cry out to Him, and you reconnect to Him in a way that brings inner peace. This connection is worth far more than the comfort you lost. Another beautiful aspect of tests is that they teach you empathy. When you struggle, you gain a deeper understanding of what others feel. Pain softens the heart. It makes you more compassionate, more forgiving, and more generous. Someone who has tasted hardship becomes a source of comfort for others. Your struggles can become a means of helping someone else heal. Allah may be preparing you to be a guardian of someone else's heart, a supporter, a guide, or a source of comfort because you know what pain feels like. In every difficulty, there is an opportunity. Some tests push you to grow, others push you to let go. Some push you to become stronger, others push you to surrender. Some tests are there to elevate your rank in the sight of Allah, even if the world never sees your struggle. Allah sees every tear, every silent prayer, every moment you hold yourself together when you feel like crumbling. These are not wasted moments, they are moments of worship that Allah rewards immensely. So when you face hardship, remind yourself that Allah is not punishing you, He is preparing you. He is cleaning your heart, strengthening your soul, and guiding you to a place you would never reach without experiencing what you are experiencing now. What you see as a storm may actually be a path to a clearer sky. What you see as a setback may be the beginning of something far greater. Trust that Allah's love is behind every test. And one day you will look back and thank Him for every struggle that shaped you into who you became. Worry is something every human being experiences, but for the believer, it is not meant to be a permanent state. Worry weakens the heart, slowly draining your energy, focus, and optimism. It makes you imagine the worst, even when nothing has happened yet. It pulls you into fear of the future or regret of the past, robbing you from living with peace in the present. But there is a beautiful way to transform that heavy feeling into something empowering, turning worry into dua. The moment you switch from overthinking to calling upon Allah, your heart begins to shift from fear to hope, from stress to reliance, from helplessness to strength. This is because prayer isn't just a ritual. It is a direct conversation with the one who controls everything you are worried about. When you worry, you carry the problem alone. But when you make dua, you hand it over to Allah, who is capable of doing what you cannot. Worry says, what if? Dua says, even if Allah is with me. Worry limits you, but dua elevates you. Worry makes you feel small, but dua connects you to the most great. A heart filled with worry shakes easily, but a heart connected to Allah stands firm even in the strongest storms. This does not mean you should never feel worried. That is part of being human. But it means you should not allow worry to control you or define your state of mind. The believer feels worry, but he does not live in worry. He turns it into a doorway that leads him back to Allah. Many people assume that dua is only for solutions, but dua is also for healing. When you pour your fears, sadness, and confusion into your prayer, you are unloading the burden from your heart. Allah already knows what you are going through, but He loves for you to speak to Him, to ask Him, to rely on Him. This conversation with Him has the power to dissolve anxiety in ways nothing else can. You might finish your dua and realize that the situation hasn't changed yet, but your heart has. You feel lighter, calmer, more grounded, because you are no longer carrying the fear alone. You handed it to the one who never gets tired, never becomes overwhelmed, and never fails. Worry grows when the mind imagines disasters that may never come. But dua brings the mind back to the truth. Allah is in control. No matter how big the problem seems, it is small to Him. No matter how complicated the situation feels, He can untangle it with ease. No matter how impossible the solution looks, He can create it from nothing. When you make dua, you remind yourself that the outcome is in His hands, not yours or anyone else's. This realization itself brings peace. because the heart finds rest when it trusts the one who holds it. Sometimes Allah allows worry to appear in your heart so that you return to Him with sincerity. It becomes a means of drawing you closer, of reminding you that you are in need of Him. If life was always smooth, many people would forget to pray, forget to ask, forget to humble themselves before Him. But when a difficulty touches you, suddenly you find yourself lifting your hands, seeking help, seeking comfort, and seeking answers from Allah. This act of turning back to Him is one of the greatest blessings hidden inside worry. You may think the hardship is a problem, but in reality, it might be a gift wrapped in difficulty, pulling you toward a deeper relationship with your Creator. Worry also teaches you something important. You are not in control. No matter how much you plan, prepare, or try to manage every detail, there will always be things beyond your reach. This realization is not meant to make you feel powerless. It is meant to free you from the illusion that you must handle everything. Once you accept that you do what you can and leave the rest to Allah, life becomes easier to navigate. Dua becomes your balance, the bridge between effort and surrender. It helps you take action without panic and wait for results without fear. There are moments when worry becomes heavy because you're trying to solve something alone. But when you bring it into your prayer, you are inviting divine help into your life. Even if the answer doesn't come immediately, the strength to endure the wait comes through your dua. Allah may delay the solution to give you patience, wisdom, or spiritual growth. He may delay it to protect you from something you do not see. Or He may delay it because the right moment has not arrived. Dua helps you accept this with grace instead of stress. The heart that remembers Allah does not collapse under pressure. It may feel sadness or fear, but it does not drown in them. Every time you whisper a dua, every time you shed a tear in prayer, every time you surrender your worry to Allah, you are rebuilding your inner strength. You are cleansing your heart from negativity and filling it with trust. You are teaching yourself that peace does not come from knowing the future, but from knowing Allah. When you replace worry with dua, you are not ignoring your problems. You are handling them the right way. You are combining effort with faith, planning with trust, and action with reliance. And this is the way the believer moves through life, not with a heart full of fear, but with a heart full of hope, carrying the certainty that Allah hears, Allah cares, and Allah answers in the way that is best. So whenever worry starts to grow inside you, pause, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and turn it into a prayer. Let your heart speak to the one who understands you completely. In that moment, you will feel the quiet strength that comes from knowing you are never alone. Allah's plan is always better than anything we imagine for ourselves, even when it unfolds in ways we find confusing or painful. Human beings can only see a tiny fragment of life, a small moment in time, a limited view of possibilities. Allah, however, sees everything: the past, the present, the future, the hidden consequences, the unseen blessings, and the long chain of events that we cannot even begin to comprehend. When a believer understands this, the heart begins to relax. You realize that what you think is best may not actually benefit you, and what you fear may turn out to be a doorway to something far greater. The wisdom of Allah's plan is like a tapestry. Up close it looks tangled, but from a distance it reveals a masterpiece. There are moments in life when you desperately want something to happen: a job, a marriage, an opportunity, a solution, a dream. You pray, you hope, you plan, and you feel certain that this is the path that will bring you happiness. But then it doesn't work out. The door closes, the opportunity disappears, the dream falls apart. In that moment, it is easy to feel crushed, confused, or abandoned. But often, the moment you lose something is the moment Allah saves you from something harmful, a trial you were unaware of, a heartbreak you couldn't see coming, or a situation you were not prepared for. What you call disappointment may actually be divine protection. Think about how many times you have been upset about something that didn't happen, only to discover later that if it had happened, it would have been a disaster. Perhaps the job you wanted would have drained you emotionally. Perhaps the person you wished to marry was not suited for your heart or your future. Perhaps the opportunity you chased would have distracted you from something far better. Allah's plan is not restricted to what you can see. His plan takes into account all the things you don't know, all the hearts involved, all the circumstances you are unaware of, and all the outcomes that only He can foresee. So when He withholds something, it is not because He is denying you, it is because He is guiding you. Sometimes Allah's plan brings ease. Other times it brings challenges. But both are blessings in different forms. The ease makes you grateful and the challenge makes you stronger. You might think that a smooth life is the best life, but without tests you would not grow. Without struggle you would not discover patience. Without loss you would not learn to detach from worldly attachments. Without setbacks you would not learn the value of reliance on Allah. What you consider a disruption in your plan might actually be a correction toward a better direction. What makes Allah's plan superior is not only the outcome, but also the journey. When you go through difficulties, you learn resilience. When your plans fail, you learn humility. When you trust Allah in moments of confusion, you build a deeper connection with Him. These are gifts you wouldn't receive if everything in life unfolded exactly the way you wanted. Sometimes the journey itself is the blessing. Sometimes the challenge prepares you for the blessing. Sometimes the delay strengthens you for the blessing. And sometimes the blessing is not what you receive, but who you become through the process. It's important to remember that Allah never plans anything to break you without also planning something to rebuild you. He never closes a door without preparing another. If you lose something with patience, Allah will replace it with something better, either in this world or in the next. His promise is clear. Whoever gives up something for His sake, He grants them something better. But the timing and the form of that better belongs to His wisdom. What is better for your soul may not look better to your eyes at first, but eventually the heart recognizes the blessing. Human beings often cling tightly to their own expectations. You draw a picture in your mind of how you want life to be, and then you expect the world to match that picture. But Allah's plan is beyond your imagination. Sometimes He gives you more than you asked for, just not in the way you expected. Sometimes He redirects you to something far superior to what you originally wanted. And sometimes He delays a blessing so that you receive it at the perfect moment. A moment you couldn't have predicted. A moment when you are ready, mature, and able to appreciate it fully. One of the greatest signs of a strong believer is the ability to trust Allah even when the path ahead looks uncertain. You trust not because you know what will happen, but because you know who is in control. You trust because Allah's plan has never failed you, even during the times you didn't understand it. The challenges you survived, the heartbreaks that taught you, the difficulties that shaped you, all of these were parts of a plan designed uniquely for you. When you surrender your plans to Allah, you don't become passive, you become peaceful. You still work, you still hope, you still strive, but you don't panic when things don't go your way. You don't collapse when plans change. You don't break when life surprises you. You understand that what is written for you will always reach you, and what is not written for you will never harm you. This understanding creates a heart that is calm, steady, and trusting. So whenever life takes a turn you didn't expect, remind yourself, the planner knows what you do not know. What you think is falling apart may actually be falling into place. What seems like a setback might be the beginning of something beautiful. Allah's plan is always better. Not sometimes, not occasionally, but always. And one day, you will look back and realize that every twist, every delay, every closed door, and every unexpected change was leading you to exactly where you needed to be. Patience and gratitude are two qualities that transform the way a believer experiences life, especially during moments of hardship. When difficulties strike, the natural reaction of the human heart is to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or discouraged. But when patience enters the heart, it softens the blow. It helps you breathe through the pain, accept what you cannot change, and give yourself the space to grow through the moment. And when gratitude accompanies patience, it turns even the darkest situations into opportunities for elevation. These two qualities together create a powerful inner strength, allowing a believer to rise above trials instead of collapsing beneath them. Every challenge becomes lighter when you respond with patience, and every blessing becomes more meaningful when you respond with gratitude. Life constantly moves between ease and difficulty, and neither of these states is permanent. When Allah blesses you with ease, it is an opportunity to be grateful. When He tests you with hardship, it is an opportunity to be patient. These two states are like wings. The believer needs both to fly. If life was always easy, there would be no room for growth. If life was always difficult, it would be unbearable. Allah in His wisdom balances your journey with both, allowing you to develop qualities that elevate your rank in this world and the next. Patience teaches you to endure. Gratitude teaches you to appreciate. Together they create spiritual resilience. Patience is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending you are unaffected. It is not about remaining silent while your heart breaks. True patience means holding on to your faith, your principles, and your trust in Allah, even when everything inside you feels shaken. It means acknowledging your pain but refusing to lose hope. It means saying, this is difficult, but Allah is with me, instead of falling into despair. Patience allows you to sit with the discomfort of a test without letting it consume your belief that relief will come. It allows you to rise each morning with the determination to keep going, even when you feel tired and uncertain. Gratitude, on the other hand, shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. Even in hardship, there are blessings, sometimes small, sometimes hidden, sometimes overlooked. You may be struggling in one area, but Allah has given you ease in another. You may have lost something, but you still have countless gifts that remain. Gratitude is not denying your pain. It is acknowledging that despite the pain, Allah has still honored you with blessings that many people wish for. It is looking for light even when the sky is cloudy. Gratitude opens the heart to hope, and hope brings strength. Every difficulty carries within it a blessing that becomes visible with time. Sometimes Allah tests you because He wants to purify you. At other times, He wants to redirect you towards something better. And sometimes the challenge itself is the blessing because it brings you back to Him. How many people found prayer during hardship? How many strengthened their character through pain? How many discovered clarity only after being broken? When you face difficulty with patience and gratitude, you discover that the trial is not meant to destroy you, but to shape you into someone wiser, stronger, and closer to Allah. Patience and gratitude also work together to protect the heart from bitterness. Without patience, hardship can make a person resentful. Without gratitude, blessings can make a person arrogant. But when you practice both, you stay grounded. You become someone who does not lose themselves during ease and does not break during difficulty. You learn to say Alhamdulillah when life is sweet and Alhamdulillah when life is bitter. This is not blind positivity. It is spiritual maturity. It is the understanding that every moment in your life, whether joyful or painful, was carefully chosen by Allah for a reason. Tests often feel heavier when you focus only on what you have lost. But when you combine patience with gratitude, you begin to see the bigger picture. You recognize that Allah does not burden you without also providing compensations, lessons, or alternative blessings. Sometimes what you gain in the heart is far greater than what you lost in your hands. Gratitude highlights these hidden gains, while patience helps you endure the weight until you see them. Patience also brings relief because it prevents you from acting out of impulse. Many people make drastic decisions in moments of disappointment or anger, only to regret them later. Patience teaches you to pause, breathe, and give time for clarity to appear. It teaches you to trust the process, understanding that ease often comes gradually, not instantly. Gratitude supports this by reminding you that even while waiting, there are still things to appreciate, things to hold on to, and things to cherish. One of the most beautiful miracles of patience and gratitude is that they attract more goodness into your life. When you are patient, Allah rewards you in ways you cannot imagine. When you are grateful, Allah increases your blessings. The Quran promises increase for the grateful and immense reward for the patient. This means that every moment of patience is a moment of spiritual profit, and every moment of gratitude is a moment of multiplied blessings. A believer who lives with these two qualities lives with abundance. Abundance of peace, abundance of perspective, and abundance of divine support. Over time, you begin to see that patience and gratitude are not just responses to life, they become a lifestyle. You move through the world with a calmer heart, trusting that setbacks are temporary, that Allah's mercy is constant, and that every test has a purpose. You stop panicking when things fall apart because you know Allah can rebuild them in better ways. You stop craving what others have because your heart is satisfied with the blessings Allah has chosen for you. In the end, patience and gratitude create a heart that is content, resilient, and anchored firmly in faith. They remind you that even when life becomes challenging, you are never without support. Allah is with you, guiding your steps, strengthening your heart, and preparing you for something greater. When you face life with these two qualities, you discover a peace that no hardship can take away, Letting go of what you cannot control is one of the most liberating forms of peace a believer can experience. So much of human stress comes from trying to manage things that were never meant to be in your hands in the first place. You try to control outcomes, people, timelines, and even the unseen. You worry about what might happen, what others might do, what could go wrong, or what you fear losing. This constant mental struggle drains your energy, steals your peace, and creates a sense of restlessness that follows you everywhere. But when you learn to release what is beyond your control and trust Allah with the matters you cannot influence, life becomes lighter, your heart becomes calmer, and your mind becomes clearer. There are things in life that you can actively work on: your intentions, your actions, your effort, and your character. These are your responsibilities. But the results, the acceptance of your efforts, the reactions of people, and the unfolding of destiny are in the hands of Allah alone. When you mix up these two categories, you suffer unnecessarily. You blame yourself for outcomes that were never yours to decide. You fear the future as if your anxiety could change what is written. You try to please everyone as if their approval could replace Allah's. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means recognizing the boundaries of your responsibility and the vastness of Allah's control. One of the reasons people struggle to let go is because they assume that control equals safety. They feel that if they manage every detail, they can prevent disappointment or pain. But life does not work like that. Pain will come, challenges will arise, people will change, and circumstances will shift, whether you try to control them or not. The belief that you can secure your own peace by controlling everything is an illusion. True security comes from trusting Allah, not from micromanaging life. When you leave matters in His hands, you rest under the protection of the one who knows what is best for you, loves you more than you love yourself, and sees what you cannot see. Letting go also means accepting that you cannot change people. You can advise them, pray for them, support them, and encourage them, but you cannot control their decisions, their character, or their actions. Trying to force change in others leads to frustration, resentment, and disappointment. Everyone grows at their own pace, and everyone carries their own set of struggles and tests. Your duty is to be kind and sincere, not to shape someone's heart. Guidance comes from Allah, and transformation happens only when He wills. When you let go of trying to fix people, you free yourself emotionally and allow relationships to breathe instead of suffocating under expectations. Another aspect of letting go is accepting the past. Many people trap themselves in memories, regrets, or mistakes they cannot undo. They replay situations in their minds, wishing they had acted differently or yearning for outcomes that are long gone. But the past is a closed door. You cannot rewrite it, but you can learn from it. Holding on to past pain only prolongs the hurt, while letting go allows healing to begin. When you accept that what happened was written for you and that Allah allowed it for a reason, you move from regret to wisdom. The past becomes a teacher instead of a prison. Letting go also applies to the future. You can plan, hope, and prepare, but you cannot control what tomorrow holds. This uncertainty often frightens people, but for the believer, it is a reminder of Allah's mercy. If you knew everything that was going to happen, you might panic, rush things, or lose motivation. Allah conceals the future to protect you, to strengthen your faith, and to encourage you to live in the present. Worrying about things that have not yet happened only exhausts your heart. Trusting Allah with the unknown gives you the ability to move forward with confidence and serenity. Letting go does not mean neglecting your responsibilities. It means giving